Hi, everybody. Thank you so much to PSC for having Textile Exchange and myself. This is an introduction to Textile Exchange standards. And my name is Callie Walden. I am the standard specialist at Textile Exchange. I work across all the standards in an introductory way and am essentially a liaison for brands who are interested in certification or standards journey. And then I specialize content-wise in animal fiber standards. If you're not familiar with Textile Exchange, we are a nonprofit. We're a remote organization, so we have employees all over the globe, and we're really a catalyst for the industry for apparel and textiles. So our mission is to inspire and equip people to accelerate the adoption of preferred fibers and materials, which we have a program that defines what we consider to be preferred materials and fibers. And we focus on carbon reduction, soil health, water, and biodiversity as part of our new Climate Plus strategy. So with that Climate Plus strategy, Textile Exchange has announced that by 2030, we aspire to guide the textile industry to reduce GHG emissions by 45%. And this is from a 2020 baseline. So obviously this is a huge number and it's a lot to unpack. We ourselves as Textile Exchange don't have our own supply chain. And so this effort is largely rooted in partnership. And when we say partnership, we do this in a number of different ways. So we drive transformation through all of these programs that are up on the screen here. A couple that you might have heard of is our benchmarking program, which is the largest peer-to-peer comparison initiative in the textile industry. And it essentially compares preferred fibers and materials uptake and allows brands to kind of rank and see where they're at and set goals for the future. We also provide a number of industry reports, including our organic cotton report and our PFM, preferred fibers and materials report, which comes out annually. And then we have a very robust membership program, which has a lot of value if you are a member in terms of access to certain special materials and one-on-one calls that you have being a member. So today I wanted to focus on standards and certification, which is a large part of how we drive transformation. And as I said, we don't have our own supply chain, and so this is rooted in partnership, and it's partnership with the focus on raw materials. So Textile Exchange focuses on raw materials because we know that a significant share of the impact of a product really happens at the beginning of the supply chain. And there's so much opportunity to use market-driven solutions, including standards and certification, in order to build responsible farming practices, responsible recycling practices, and chain of custody in the supply chain to ensure the verification of the claims that you're making on a finished good. So I'll jump right into our portfolio of standards that we own. So starting on the right-hand side here, this is our animal fiber suite of standards. So everything except the content claim standard will be at the input level. So, either the farm or the materials recycler. In terms of animal fibers, we have a responsible wool standard, responsible mohair standard, and most recently the responsible alpaca standard. And these standards all have an animal welfare section, which is broken up into different submodules. And then we also have a land management section here. So that will focus on soil practices, pesticides and fertilizer use, and biodiversity plans. So the land management is closely linked to our Climate Plus strategy, and the work that's coming out of that team that has been added in the past year is really going to define and kind of guide where this land management module for the animal fibers goes. We're working with the industry to define what regenerative means and how we can start to incorporate those KPIs and metrics into actual certification so that brands who are certified to these standards can know exactly what impact they're having on the ground. That standard, the suite of standards, also includes a social module for the human handlers of the pasture-based farming systems. Moving to the left, we also have a responsible down standard, which focuses on the animal welfare of the ducks and geese involved in the down farming system. And then our most popular, which you might have heard of, are our global recycled standard and our recycled claim standard. So the recycled claim standard, the RCS, is verifying recycled input, pre-consumer and post-consumer waste. This we see as the framework, the skeleton, the stepping stone, or the little sister of the global recycled standard, which essentially has all the same recycled input verification as the RCS, but then it goes ahead and it adds on chemical, environmental, and social modules. So a lot of times we see supply chain sites getting certified to the recycled claim standard first, and then when they're ready to add on the social, environmental, and chemical modules, they can audit to the GRS. The GRS does have the more strict requirements for the content that you need to have in order to claim the GRS and the finished good. And so it's kind of the North Star for people who are working on incorporating more recycled content into their supply chain. We also have our organic content standard, which is not an organic farm certification, but it uses already certified organic input. So we use the iPhone family of standards, which is a recognition program for lots of different organic certifications on farms across the world. And so if you have an input that is certified to one of those standards, we pick it up at the first stage processor, and we help track the chain of custody for that organic certified material all the way to the finished good. I'll talk about our content claim standard in a moment here, but just know that it's our chain of custody standard, and it does apply to across the board. After the input level, all of our standards can get picked up with the content claim standard and ensure that the certified material is actually making it into the finished good at the end. This is just a quick summary of all of the standards that I just mentioned. I'll leave it here since we don't have a ton of time, but it kind of just dives into the specific coverage areas for the standards. So certification after the input level. All of the standards I just mentioned, if you read through the requirements, they're very input focused. So they're either, talking about farm level requirements, or they're talking about materials recycling processes. What happens after the input level is we have a chain of custody system that we use that makes sure, after the material has been certified at the input level, is it actually ending up in your finished good? So what this means is that all sites between the input level to the brand receive a certification to our chain of custody, the CCS standard. And we use a scope certificate and a transaction certificate system, which is essentially a book and claim system, to make sure that whatever you're ordering is actually ending up in that finished good. And what that does is it not only allows you to make verified claims by saying this exact amount of material is in this product, but it also reduces risk, because we've seen a lot, of recycled claims where if a customer said, well, how do you know that that's recycled, or how much of it is actually recycled? The standard system allows you to say, I know exactly what percentage of this comes from this recycled content. And I have a system to prove that, because we have the chain of custody in place. So it not only ensures the verified claims, but it also reduces the risk at the brand level to be able to have that full chain of custody. In terms of certified sites, we have over 30,000 sites certified to our standards as of 2020, which is really huge. We didn't really know what the year would look like with COVID. And I think that because our certified sites continued to grow last year, it really is a nod to say that sustainability isn't just a trendy thing anymore. It's really built in and baked into a lot of brands' missions, and they're continuing to work on it, even when things get shaky, even when, there's lots of change happening. People are dedicated to their sustainability and certification journey. And as you can see, like I mentioned, over 50% of all of the certified sites are the GRS standard, which is really huge in terms of the uptick of recycled polyester and other types of fibers. I know I'm running out of time, so I'll just leave some resources here for you all. That was a really quick overview, but if you're interested in diving into any of the specific areas, or you're ready to get certified, or you don't know if you're ready to get certified and you just need some help figuring it all out, I'm always available. Again, my name is Callie. I manage the standards at Inbox with my colleague Taylor, so we're happy to get back to you. And then I've left a lot of different materials up here, our PFM report, which gives a pulse of the industry, our webinar archive, which has hundreds of different webinars that we've done, more standards information, and then FAQs are always a really great place to start. So I think that's all for me. Thank you so much again for having me, and I will see you shortly for the panel after this. Thank you so much.